Okay, no problem. Share. Thank you, Muhammad, for reminding me. Okay, so for those who attended on Monday Scratch, they are waiting. I sent the certification, and they are waiting the recorded session plus the PowerPoint. You will receive it between. You will receive it between tomorrow. Wait. You will receive it by tomorrow or maximum on Saturday. Today, we're conducting another session for small basic, and especially how to master the use of procedure, sub-procedure, and how to manipulate lists and arrays. First of all, small basic, as you all know, is a free coding language developed by Microsoft. It's an amazing language, easy to use by intermediate students in grade 7, 8, and 9. We already tested with students like for more than 10 years, and it gives an amazing result since it develops skills in algorithm and in coding language. Uh, Actually, it's not Scratch, it's Small Basic. So a Small Basic, you can have it in you can download it for Windows, and for those who have Apple or Mac, or even on tablets, they can work on it on a online version. You have the link here. It's the same link, even you download the program or you browse the editor online. As we said, today we'll explore how to create procedures and sub-procedures, and how to manipulate lists and arrays. Uh, the audience are mainly ICT teachers and, of course, science teachers and math teachers. At the end of this certificate of this webinar, you will receive a certificate of participation. All you have to do, I believe you are used to, is to send a WhatsApp with your full name and the school name and email in order to prepare you and send you by WhatsApp the certification. Why small basic in the ICT curriculum? Today, it's ICT is considered always. I say it as a science to be delivered for students from grade 3 till grade 12, like math, like physics, like biology. ICT is a must nowadays, and in order to make a consistent curriculum, we divided our curriculum into three main coding language. From grade 3 till grade 6, it's Scratch. From grade 7 till grade 9, it's Small Basic. And from grade 10 till 12, it's Python. Uh, the question you may ask, why using an intermediate language like Small Basic, not to start with Python in grade 7? Of course we can, but from our own experience, we know that giving one language for students from grade 7 till grade 12, I mean like 6 years, it will be boring for them. So I advise you highly to divide those grades from 7 to 12, and to give Small Basic 7, 9, Python 10, 12, knowing that it's a major task for you to develop algorithm skills in parallel to the syntax of the software. Uh, what are procedures and sub-procedures? Actually, a procedure and a sub-procedure is a technique that we use in a program in order to minimize the coding load, to be structured, and to prepare our students to be professional, or to think like the professionals do. I mean, if you ask, or if we ask ourselves when we learn coding language at universities, teachers taught us how to uh, structure our program by creating a procedure and a sub-procedure. I mean, a sub-procedure is a function that we can call anytime we want in a program, especially if we have to call it more than one time. Instead of writing it many times, we write it one time, we give it a name, and then after we call it many times as we want. And of course, with the example, you will understand more. So basically, your task as an ICT teacher is very important in order to make the student understand in a educational way. That means you have to give them many examples in order to make them understand why they are it's advised to be used, and not to say in order not to say to be obliged. So the program you have in front of you is a simple program. Please do not send your name on the chat. Send it on WhatsApp, please. I will not collect it from the chat. It will be collected from the WhatsApp later on once we finish the webinar. So I was saying that if we look at the program we have in front of us, we have a program formed of 8 lines, where the user is asked to type the product name, the product quantity, the product unit price, and if the product is subject to VAT or no. So, and of course, the input will be saved in 4 variables: P name, P quantity, P unit price, and P VAT. So this is a simple program where the sub-procedure are not used. So if we go through the second slide, we see that we've added on line 11 to 13 a first sub-procedure called VAT, and from line 15 to line 17, a second sub-procedure called no VAT. Of course, the 2 sub-procedures are empty till now. I will pass to the next slide, and in the first procedure, VAT, from line 11 to line 14 now, I've added 2 instructions. The first is to calculate the total price, which is the P unit price times the quantity times 1.1, considering that the VAT is 10%. And on line 13, I'm displaying the total price of the product. And in sub procedure no VAT 16 till line 19, I'm calculating the total price without adding the 10%. So what I've did till now is preparing my 2 sub-procedures, giving them a name, and writing inside them what to do in case this sub-procedure is called. The only thing I need right now is to call them in the program. So switching or passing to the next slide, as you can see here, from line 10 till line 14, I'm creating an if statement and evaluating if the PVAT variable, which contain the two values yes or no. So if the PVAT equal yes, then I will call the VAT sub procedure. Else, I will call the no VAT sub procedure. So as you can see here, the program is well structured and students are asked to identify and to read well the structure of this program in order to understand what is a procedure and what is a sub-procedure. I consider that the main procedure is from line 1 to line 14. The first sub-procedure VAT is from line 16 to 19, and the second sub-procedure is from line 21 to line 24. This is an example, a typical example of how to use procedures and sub-procedures and how to call a sub-procedure in a program. Knowing that anytime I need to calculate a total price with VAT or without VAT, I can call, instead of writing the formula and displaying the total price, I can just write VAT like I did in line 11 and 13, and then after the sub-procedure will be executed. I will take another question. Sorry, I will take another example, which is the example of drawing figures. So we'll try to read together this program quickly. In line 1 and 2, the user is asked to fill if he wants to draw square or triangle. For square, he is obliged to type S, for triangle T, and the answer is stored in the variable figure. Then after, from line 4 to 8, I'm evaluating a condition to see if the variable figure contain the value S or the value T. So in case the figure contain the value S, I mean the user typed the letter S, the square sub-procedure will be called, else the sub-procedure triangle will be called. And then I will end my if statement. From line 10 till line 17, it's a sub-procedure called square, and the main function of it is to draw a square. The second sub-procedure is from line 19 till line 26, and the main function of this sub-procedure is to draw a triangle. So this is a second example how we can use the structured programming using the sub-procedure. The first one is, we saw it in order to calculate the VAT. The second one is to draw figures. So no limit for examples that you can give in order to practice with your students the idea of the procedures and sub-procedure. I remind you that it's very important to focus on these skills with your students, because it's a really advanced skills, and you can evaluate your students if they understand or they are developing new concept in coding. Now I will pass to the second part, which is the arrays or lists, depends. We call it arrays or lists. This program that you see in front of you allows you to input the grades for one student. As you can see, the name is stored in variable equal name, the math in variable equal math, ICT and ICT, the average will at line 7 will calculate the average of math plus ICT divided by 2. And at the end, on line 8, the average will be displayed. So this program will calculate the average and will display the average for only one students. But as you know, it's not practical. We have to go through and see how we can manipulate a program or create a program in order to input for several students, and then after, let's say, to allow them to calculate the average of the entire class. So in the second example, what if we want to input the grades for the entire class? Using the loop will not solve the problem, since the variables will save only the last data input. As you can see here, I've inserted the previous exercise in the loop while I less than 10, and I set the value of I to 1 on line 1, okay? And then I'm incrementing the value of I by 1. So the loop will turn 10 times. It's true. But the variables name, math, ICT, and average will make the calculation and will store the input data. But the problem is, while leaving the loop, I mean on turn number 10, they will store the latest data that the user input. So we cannot store all the data for the different 9 or 10 students. That's why here I have to think in another way. I mean, how to create a variable that can hold many values. And of course, the solution, maybe your students will tell you that we can create as many variables as we have for students. Of course, it's not allowed. Imagine you have 20 students in your class, that we have to create a variable name 1, name 2, name 3 till name 20, math 1, math 2, math 3, and so on. We cannot handle this number of variables, and at the end we are going to be lost in a way. So the main or the solution is to switch from using variables to arrays. I mean, I have to think for a structure that can hold one structure, which is the array or the list, that can hold many values, and then we can manipulate them later on. So for students, they have to memorize that variables, they have a unique name, the content can change, and the variable is compared to a house. Since in a house, we can have only one family. Okay, so look here at the example. I have the variable A that can hold 12, the variable B that can hold 14, and so on. So if I want to change the content of the variable A, I can easily write in a program A equals 16. So we are talking about the same variable A, but we are changing the content. So while testing your students, it's very important to ask them what's the difference between the name of the variable and the content of the variable. Or you can ask them another question by saying, what are the characteristics of a variable? And the answer will be the name and the content. The name can't be changed. The content, I can change it many times in a program. Plus, to what we can compare a variable, the answer should be a house, since at one time it can hold a one family. Okay, then after we will switch to what we call the list or the arrays. And of course, the array also has a unique name, but it can hold many values at the same time. Look here at this example. The list, it's named A, and we can see that in this list we have many items, and each item is accessible with the number of the item. I mean, A between brackets 1, it's for the first item. A4, it's for the fourth item, and so on. And of course, the list can be compared to what? To a building, where each family can have one floor. So this example of making this comparison between variable to a house and the list to a building, it's very important for the students to understand the difference. And you can also give this example by saying that if we have to access the floor number 10, we go through the left and we press the item or the button number 10, and so on. That's why the idea of the lift and the building is very important in order to understand this manipulation. Then after, I will go through the following slide, which is what are the basic manipulation we can make for arrays or lists. So first of all, the manipulation are how to fill a list, since we cannot manage lists without filling them. How to display the content of a list, how to search for an item in a list, how to read a list in a reverse way, backward, how to display the odd value. Okay, can you please turn off your mic? Thank you. How to fill a list in another one, how to display the sum of the different cells in a list, and examples and examples. So why I list you here few example of those manipulations, since those manipulations are very important for assessment to see if students understand the idea of what is a array or a list. And believe me, if you reach this point that students can express, they can answer questions by written or in practice about the lists, I mean, and I believe that you reach a really advanced stage with your students in coding. And when your students will arrive to grade 10, 11, and 12, believe me that you will not find any problem in making them understand this concept, since you started with them in lower grades. In our curriculum, right click, we are working, or all those topics are included in the curriculum, especially in grade 9, since in grade 7 and 8 it's really critical to understand what is, to make students understand what is arrays and what are a list, since we are focusing more on the if statement, the loops, the variables, the embedded loop, and all those concepts. So arriving to grade 9, I believe that students are ready to start working with the lists. So the following slide will be on how to fill in the list. Once I finish the PowerPoint presentation, I will move to Small Basic in order to make you some live exercises. So in this program that you see in front of you, you can see that in line 1, I initialize the value I to 1, and I've created a loop that will turn 4 times, and while turning, users will be asked to fill in a value, and this value will be stored in the array. And like a variable, instead of writing v equal text window dot read, I'm writing v between brackets I, and for the first run, I will have the value 1. For the second one, the value 2, 3, and 4. So those data that the user will fill will be stored in case number 1, case number 2, and case number 3. So the first manipulation is how to fill a list, and you have to work really hard with your students on creating this link between that we cannot handle an array without a while loop or a for loop. It's very important that your students will understand that there is a relationship between, a direct relation between the loops, even if it's while or for, and the arrays, since the only structure that will run automatically for a certain number of time is a loop. And since the array will be turning from one item to another, so the loop will make this this task. Once I fill my list, I will pass to the second slide in order to see how I can display the content of this slide. So from line 1 till line 6, it's the part where I'm filling the array V with data from my keyboard. And then after, if you can see that actually from line 8 to line 13, it's the same routine, it's the same loop, but instead of writing in line 3, fill in the list, I'm writing in line 10, display the content of item I. And then after, instead of writing on line 4, vi equal text window dot read, okay, I'm displaying in line 11, text window dot read right line vi. And of course, the incrementation will be on line 5 and on line 12. I hope that my explanation is clear, and I'm trying to go slowly in order to make you follow me with those instructions and how to provide your students with the explanation. And then after, on slide number 22, I'm giving you an example of how to search for an item in a list. So as you can see in the example, the previous lines from 1 to 13 are hidden since they are the same like in this slide. Then after, from line 15 till line 17, I'm displaying the message to type the item I am searching for. The user will type with the command text window.read the value, and it will be stored in the variable item in line 16. And by default, on line 17, I will create a variable. I will name it find, and I will assign to it the value false. Considering that, I will not find the item I'm searching. Okay? Then after, from line 19 till line 25, I'm going through a loop to test, to evaluate if the VI, the items in the list, are the content of the different items of the list are equal, at least one item is equal to the item the user input from the keyboard. So look here, on line 19, I initialize the counter I to 1, and from line 20 to line 25, I'm turning a loop 4 times, and for each time, I'm evaluating the content of the array with the item. So if the VI equal item, then find equal true. Remember that on line 17, find, it's a variable that contains the value false. And if I found a content of the list equal to the item, so that means the list contains the value of the item, of the variable item. So I will switch the content of the variable find to true. Okay, so once the loop is finished, from line 27 till line 31, I'm evaluating another condition to see if the item is find, yes or no. So if find equal true, okay, that means the item is found, else the item is not found. Okay, so as you can see here, the programming is structured. It's based on loops in order to fill the array, in order to display the content of the array, and in order to find if a value is in the array or not. Okay, then after, I will switch to the small basic in a while before terminating the slide, the PowerPoint slide show. And as you know, if you are using our curriculum, you know that on our YouTube channel, L'Info pour tous online, we have a series of tutorials, like 4 to 5, 6 minutes max, that you can send to your students in order, since we are teaching online right now, in order to give them the opportunity to review a lesson in case they miss it, or they have to make sure they understand it well. So till now, we developed 10 lessons, and coming next week, we are providing and we are adding to this YouTube channel new videos, and you will be, of course, informed. So I highly ask you to go through this channel, to select the video you want, and to give it to your students in order to watch it. It will be really a help for you. Before terminating my PowerPoint and switching to the small basic program, I will ask you if you need any help in Saudi Arabia to send your request for specimens to Mr. Muhammad Nuruddin from Dar al Warraq, and he will be happy to help you. And from Cairo, if you need any help, you can contact direct me in order to assist you with our agent in Cairo. I remind you to fill your name, your school name, and your email, and to send me on WhatsApp in order to have your certificate of participation. And I remind you that the coming week will have Python. On Monday, we'll have Python, how to master the loop, embedded loop, array, and embedding libraries. On Thursday, we'll have Arduino using Tinkercad for virtual Arduino project using a simulator, no need for a hardware. The week after, Arduino manipulating the serial monitor screen, knowing better the Arduino language, and the microbit using Tinkercad for virtual microbit projects. In 2 weeks, we'll have the Make Code, the microbit and EV3 robot simulator. So here, since you are teaching online, students don't have the kit as hardware. So we'll go through the Make Code in order to show you how you can have and you send resources for your students in order to profit and to develop skills in microcontrollers and in robot. And we'll finish it with Tinkercad, how to create 3D object. It will be an amazing session. So the PowerPoint is done. I will move forward to small basic. Just confirm me, you can see my small basic program now?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
great.
we can see it.
Okay, great. So as we said in our presentation, I will open the procedure sub-procedure. So the program you can see here is what we've did previously. So I will run it, and you will see that the program, you can see now the input, no? The black screen.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay. So I type the name of the program. The quantity is 4. The unit price is 10. And the user must type if the product is subject to VAT. If I type yes, so it's supposed to give me 44, since 40 times 1.1 will give me 44. And if I run it another time, I type the name of the product, the quantity for the unit price is 10, and it's not subject to VAT, so the total price is 40. So this example will show you how your students will be structured, understanding how to manage procedures and sub-procedures, and how to access to a sub-procedure in a direct way, and why we create a sub-procedure. In order not to write it many times, I can call it as many as I want just by calling its name. I will move to the second exercise, which is the drawing shapes. So as you can see also, first, the student or the user is asked to type S or T for square and for triangle. Okay. If the figure, which is the variable that will hold the answer, is equal to S, so the sub procedure square will be called. This is the sub procedure square, where I can add, where I added inside the while loop, and else I will call the sub procedure triangle. So let me run the program. Okay, I will type S for square, and you will see that the turtle will draw a square. And if I type T, then the turtle will draw a triangle. So imagine, and this is what you should make your student understand. So imagine that instead of writing each time the lines and the repeat in order to draw a square, you have you are asked just to call the sub procedure square or triangle or any figure, and it will be executed. So I will move to the first program of the arrays, which is it's not the I believe it's this one. So even this one, the program that you see in the PowerPoint presentation, it's a while program that it will ask the user to type 10 times the name, the grade of math ICT to calculate the average. The problem of this program is while running 10 times, the variables name, math, ICT, and AV will hold the last values type. So all the values, the 9 values for the 9 previous students will be erased, since the variable will hold only the last information type. That's why I will go through the last program. It's like it's already open, this one. So I will go directly and quickly. So the first 6 lines is to fill the array. Then after, from line 8 till line 13, I will display the content of the list or the array in order to make sure that the values are really stored. Okay, from line 15 to line 17, I will type the item I'm searching for, and this answer will be in the variable item, as I said before, and I declare a variable called named, and I will store the value false by default. Then after, from line 19 till line 25, I will run a while that will turn 4 times, and for each turn, it will check if the content of the array of the item is equal to the item the user typed, then the value of time of find will be true, and then after it will be incremented. And at the end, from line 27 to line 31, there is an if statement to see if the find is equal to true, then the item is found, else the item is not found. I will run the program. I will type the values 4, 5, 6, and 7. Look how the values displayed are 4, 5, 6, 7. So the students will make sure that the values are really stored in this list. And then after, I'm asked to type the value to search. I will type 9. And of course, the answer will be the item is not found. I will run it again. 4, 5, 6, 7, and I will type the value 5, and the answer will be the item is found. So as you can see in this program, I fill in the array, I display the content, okay, I type a value to search, and then after I tested if the value is found or no. Now, if I go back to see what other manipulation could be done with the list, it's very simple. I can also create another loop to add the content of the different items and to display the sum at the end. So look how I'll make it. I will select this part. At the end of the program, I will paste it. I will start with creating a variable equals sum equals 0. And with this variable, I will add all the different items. Okay, by running the program, I will not make the if statement, no need. I just only need to create the formula sum equal sum plus vi, and then I equal I plus 1. So while running, the variable sum will hold the will hold the sum of the different values. So to make sure, I will text window dot write line. I open parentheses, so I will type the sum of the array is plus sum. Okay, we'll try the program. So I will run it. I will type 5, 5, 5, and 5. The item to search is 5. Okay, so the item is found. The sum of the array is 20. So it's normal. 5 times 4, it's 20. So all the manipulation that you will be doing with your students later on will be the same, using the same concept, that is linking the loops to the manipulation of the list of the array. And believe me, I believe that we are all ICT teachers, and during our university studies, we learn how to manipulate arrays, and we believe and we know all that all programs are using arrays in order to be to have a good functioning. That's why it's a very major part in manipulating the array. I will do another test or another manipulation, which is how to fill in the value of the array V in another one, but in a reverse way. Okay, so I will try to copy this program, and then I will copy it. Okay, and I will declare a new variable called j or p, let's say, and I will initialize it to 4. Okay, then while I is less than or equal to 4, I will write, let's say the second array will be x of p equal v of what? Of I. And then after, I will make I equal I plus 1 and p equal p minus 1. So imagine there is two lists. The pointer of the first list, which is v, start on item 1, and the pointer for the list x will start on pointer number 4, and then after I will increase the counter I, and I will decrease the counter P. Okay? And then after, I will create the same loop just to display the content of the variable of the list P. So text window dot write line x of I. Okay? So I believe it's okay like this. I will try it. Line 51 and while I no text window dot write text the variable xx, where is it? X, okay. So run. Okay, I will fill the first array with 1, 2, 3, 4. Look how 1, 2, 3, 4 are displayed. I'm searching for item number 2. It will be displayed. The item is found. The sum of the array is 10. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you add them, it will be 4. And 4, 3, 2, 1 is what? It's the content of the second array, which is filled from the first array, but in a reverse way. Okay, so if we want to give examples, we'll give it from now till tomorrow, examples of how to manipulate arrays. So I will try to limit myself for 1 hour of this presentation. This code could be an example to inventory of a supermarket. Of course, there is a lot of examples that we can manipulate in for arrays. And I will try to provide you with other examples and series. And if you are using our right-click books, and there is a lot of examples and exercises for list and array manipulation. And for those who are not using our curriculum, I highly advise you to move and to make this step by adopting our curriculum, since all the schools, like from 20 years till now, they are using our curriculum, are satisfied, and are happy. Before giving you the time to ask if you have any question, I hope that this webinar was clear. It was really targeted for only 2 topics, which I believe are intermediate to advanced level. Okay, and I tried to give you many examples on how to make it simple and how to make this approach by teaching your students and by giving examples in order to make them understand well those concepts. So now I'm ready to don't forget to send me your name and your request to send you the presentation and the certificate of the participation. And now I'm ready to hear from you any request, or if there is any question, I'm here for you. Thank you for your time. Any question, or it was clear?
Thank you, Mr. Wissam.
It was clear?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Shukran. Okay, great. So I should receive like 15 WhatsApp for the participants. You started to send me your request. Okay, great. So till Monday, I hope. Yeah, yani I believe that if you are registered to Python, to Small Basic, you should be also registered to Python. So since it's the same topic but in a different language, so if you are not registered by mistake, please send me a request on my WhatsApp, and I will send you the invitation next week. Okay. Have a nice weekend and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wissam.